there's one person who should be president accounted for during a terror attack, it's America's commander-in-chief. But guess what? New reports now suggest President Obama was AWOL during the crisis in Benghazi. Let's bring back our panel, Jimmy Williams, Kevin Williamson, and Joel Pollak. Okay, I just want to say this, Joel. You write about this on Breitbart.com. I think it's extraordinary. You had Senator Kelly Ayotte. You had Senator Ted Cruz. You had Senator Lindsey Graham firing tough prosecutorial questions at Leon Panetta, the departing Secretary of Defense. And we learned, for the first time, I think, tell me if I'm wrong, Joel, we learned that after a routine 5 p.m. meeting, he had no contact with the president for the rest of the night. This is worse than the 3 a.m. phone call. We knew Americans were being attacked and no contact. I just find this incredible.
It is incredible, especially because the president led the nation to believe he had been involved the entire time. He said that as soon as he found out what had been going on, he issued 3 directives. Now, we've never seen what those 3 directives were, but he explained them to us. Never seen proof of that. The media should really ask what those directives were and where they followed, because now we know that there was no conversation between the president and the Secretary of Defense. But Obama's defense back in October, saying that he had issued these 3 directives, that was repeated right down the chain. Rahm Emanuel said the president had given these orders. David Axelrod said that Obama had been in touch with his cabinet for the rest of the night. That's all untrue. And not only that, but Panetta had not been in touch with Hillary Clinton over at the State Department. So there was really no communication going on between the people who were supposed to be involved here. And this is as Americans were dying. There were actions that could have been taken. As Lindsey Graham pointed out, they could have sent some units, deployed somebody into the area to try to stop the attack as it was ongoing. They didn't know how long the attack was going to last, but nothing was done. Nobody left the base, and the president was AWOL.
8 hours. 8 hours. Okay, Jimmy Williams, you're on. 8 hours. These are Democrats. You're a Democrat. I want to hear your point on this. The thing went on for 8 hours. At 5 p.m. that afternoon, they learned Panetta was in the room, Hillary Clinton was in the room, President Obama was in the room, I believe Joint Chief of Staff Dempsey was in the room. I could be wrong about that. My point is this. There was a whole lot of time after that 5 p.m. meeting for actions that could have been taken, and not even a phone call with the defense secretary. That is incredible to me.
This is clearly a scandal worthy of impeachment, which is now being called upon. Here's the problem with this idea that there's some massive cover-up here. 11 times when George Bush, number 43, was president, 11 times during his presidency, American embassies overseas were attacked. 46 people died, over 150 were injured, and not a single congressional hearing. Not one single Democratic senator brought in Secretary Rice or Secretary Powell or another single person from the Bush administration to say.
I'm sorry, Kevin.
Would you like the date? I'm happy to give you the date.
2013, and your answer to everything is still, oh my God, George W. Bush. I mean, this is sad and pathetic.
No, I just don't understand why there seems to be a conspiracy theory. Why is there a conspiracy theory about this? There wasn't a conspiracy theory for the 8 years of Bush's presidency, but there has to be now.
There's an incompetence theory.
Then say it's incompetence as opposed to I don't know what happened. Why don't we know what happened? It's ridiculous, guys. Come on.
How can it be ridiculous? Look, Joel, let me bring this back. How can it be? How can we not know it didn't happen when they knew it happened? They were meeting at 5 p.m. in the White House. Now, that had been out there for quite some time. They knew that Americans were being attacked at the consulate in Benghazi. They knew that. This is not something that just happened in the normal course of war in Iraq. This was a special, isolated incident. And they were AWOL. I'm not talking about impeachment, Joel. I'm just saying, as Kevin did, there's an ineptness here, and there's this gap of I don't know how many hours, 5, 6, 7 hours, where the Secretary of Defense, the Secretary of State should have been on the phone with the president. Remember the 3 a.m. phone call. This is worse.
Well, there are 2 issues here. One is that they could have potentially saved Americans had they acted earlier, had they been involved and engaged. The other is that there are conspiracy theories here because, frankly, there was a conspiracy. Remember the video we were told about that was supposedly the impetus for all this. Remember the other stories about how Obama stayed up into the night talking to Panetta, talking to people about this. We now know those are all untrue. So why were we fed that information? Why were we told that? That was clearly a conspiracy in the classic sense. They got together. They said, guys, we got to get our stories straight. straight. We've got an election in a few weeks. We got to win. So let's hold off until afterwards. Now all the details are coming out, and the story is very simple. We now know why we were lied to. We were lied to because Obama did nothing.
All right, Jimmy, listen, I don't have to say he lied. All right? I don't have to go that far.
You don't have to. Joel just did.
I'm just asking. All right, this is me. This is my own personal view.
Yes.
I served in the government. I served in the sub-cabinet. I know that during crises, the top layer, cabinet people and the president get together. They're on the phone. Hell, the National Security Council, Brennan, wasn't even involved in this. Jimmy, that's the part I don't get, how the president could have walked away. I just don't get it.
Well, you're accusing the president of walking away. I, for one, I worked in the Senate for almost 7 years. I would like for the Senate to have more hearings. Bring every one of these folks in, put them all on a panel. Clinton, Panetta, Dempsey.
Well,
bring everybody. Bring all of them in. No, do it again.
Jimmy, they tried. They put Mrs. Clinton in there. Then you had this hearing yesterday with Panetta and Dempsey, and that's where this information came out.
Listen, I will protect the Senate's rights all day long when it comes to any executive branch, whether it's Obama, Clinton, Bush, or the next person. I'm not. My desire is not to protect the executive branch. I like congressional hearings. I also like non-hypocrisy, and this is my problem. Joel just called this a scandal, a conspiracy. There is no conspiracy here unless you say there's a conspiracy. So if there is, let's have more hearings. Bring them all in.
It's hard to have fruitful hearings with people who won't tell you the truth.
You're right. You're exactly right. And we didn't have much of that during the Bush years. In fact, we had no hearings.
We may never know. We may never know.
No hearings under Bush.
A lot of holes in this story that came out dramatically yesterday when Leon Panetta was cross-examined. That's the thing. 5 months later, we're still getting new information. Gentlemen, thank you. Joel Pollak, we appreciate it. Jimmy Williams, as always. Kevin Williamson, thank you.